welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. It's episode number 473 of the Trinity Force Podcast. Adam, Dom, and Punch are all here this week.
Hey-o!
Hey, guys.
Hey,
We're
hello.
here.
I hope you guys all enjoyed Monday's episode all about the jungle. Heartless Beaver will be back, and hopefully with a better microphone here soon, so that he doesn't sound like he lives in a tin can. If you guys heard the announcement before the show started, you can also go to Amazon and type in 15 T-Force for that to get to that promo. So, like, if the link's not working for you, whatever, you're on Amazon, you want to look up those chairs, 15 T-Force. There'll be some links in the description, by the way, where you can see some in real life. A couple people have purchased them and sent tweets, and I'm going to throw those into the description. So if you want to see what one looks like, you can check that out. Along with that there is a contest going on right now. We're calling it the Skylab Tilt Contest because they have the tilt control on the chairs. We want you to send us a video or screenshot of some time in League of Legends where there was tilt. Either you tilting, a friend tilting, a teammate tilting, whatever it is. Send that over to contest@trinityforcepodcast.com. This contest is open to the United States and Canada, and we will draw the winner on the, 30th of September? Is that right? We got 30 days in September? Yes, 30 days.
Yes.
September. Yeah. Past September, April, June, and November. Whatever, right?
Yes.
So that is
correct.
That is a Skylab tilt contest where you can win a Skylab Performance chair by sending us in. It is going to be random winners. I'm going to pick a random person, and then we're going to share whatever screenshot or video that they had. So yeah, contest@trinityforcepodcast.com to get in on that. If you guys want to join us too, we have a weekly challenge, and that's a League of Legends related, so we're going to jump right into that. This week's weekly challenge is look at the enemy team comp and load and come up with a plan of attack for your lane, what happens after lane and during skirmishes. Who do you hit? Who do you avoid? What do you need to use summoner spells on? Who do you need to use summoner spells on, etc.? That was
This is, we talked about it on Monday, but this really is something I do every single game. I'm always the type of player who prefers taking Exhaust out of bot as opposed to Ignite. I know a lot of people go back and forth, and it's really kind of up to your personal preference. But like every single game I get into, it's like, okay, who do I critically need to exhaust when it comes down to it? So, if there's like a Talon or a Zed or some other really big damage dealer like that, my first thought is like, just figure out how to get exhaust on that champion, because that gives us a window where either he or she is not able to deal damage, or we can, kill them before they decide to use the spells that are going to deal damage.
I shake my head because I'm like, I have heal. I just try to figure out when do I need to use heal. How many times do I need to save Sean from jumping into the team and almost dying while he runs away screaming, "Oh God, I did a thing!"
Oh God, I'm beat. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm beat. That's right.
But he's not. He's not dead or beat.
But it's even stuff fine. Like, does my opponent have teleport, or did they take Ignite? Okay, what's that going to do to my top lane dynamic?
Oh my God, that'll save so many lives in top lane if you just do that one simple thing.
We just pay attention.
Riven took Ignite. Oh my God, who does that? And then it's too late. You're dead.
Right, you have to know what you are going into and formulate a plan to play against it or play as it if you want to look at your summoners, because you don't realize what you picked either when you were going champion select. Oh shit, I have Ghost Flash. Well, how do I use Ghost to my in my favor? So it is the Worlds patch, fellas. We are rolling into that time of year. 7.818 will be the patch the pros play on for Worlds, and we're going to discuss it, try to break it down here. A lot of pro player nerfs on this patch, or pro player champion nerfs, and some buffs as well as we roll into top lane and start talking about Fiora, where essentially her R got reverted.
Yeah, with these changes, I guess if you want to quick outline them.
Yeah, passive duelist stance bonus movement speed was 15 to 45%. It's now 20 to 50%. And R Grand Challenge, Fiora once again gains duelist stance movement speed bonus while in Grand Challenge circle.
And she's back to where she was after, what was that, 7.15 or something?
1.4.
7.14. So Beaver and I were talking about this, and while it's good for Fiora, and it's going to make her better because it gives her back the power that she was missing. The thing is that the world we're in now is one where Bramblevest exists, and these nerfs came out like basically around the time Bramblevest even came into the game, and so they didn't realize how hard that was going to hit her. So much of Fiora's lane winnability comes from the fact that she's getting all of that free healing from Vitals procs, and once your opponent has that Bramble Vest, they're going to be reducing the healing. Like, it just doesn't matter what you do. She has to auto attack to get that heal, and by virtue of that, she is going to be reducing the amount of healing that she gets. So while this is significant, and I think in solo queue it's a bigger deal because not everybody's going to be mindful of that specific point, for pro play, I don't know how much this ends up changing top lane.
I don't think it changes top lane, but I think it puts her back up there to that next tier where she could be picked as a counter pick into some top matchups or to certain team comps. Kind of like we saw CLG rolling out Jax every once in a while, and Darshan using that to his advantage. Now Fiora kind of goes into that same pool where she could be picked if if the wind blows the right way.
How is she in a Gnar punch? Do you know? You play both of those.
I do not know, but the people that do best against Gnar are the ones that can actually get to him. Fiora's gap closer isn't the greatest in the world, so she'd have to... a trade in that regard would be she would have to dodge Q, go in with her Q, Gnar would jump away, and then Fiora's kind of stuck in this no man's land, like, all right, well, I used my gap closer to get to him, now I'm just kind of stuck here.
She's trying to bully him out by hitting the vitals, right, when she can. And I know Gnar has the range, and now Gnar is getting a nerf in this patch, pretty significant one at that. But like she would be trying to parry the third proc and W, for example. That movement speed slow. Or no, he gains hyper speed. I'm sorry.
He gains movement speed. So I mean, you would block the damage, which is good, but he'd still gain that movement speed, right?
Yeah, you're just trying to get him. So it's I can't imagine it's an easy matchup.
Just wondered.
It's probably not horrible.
Like maybe they would break her out for, because he's not going to rush a Bramble Vest either.
Well, Gnar is probably not going to see very much play, considering his base health just got nerfed to 510 from 540, and he was being picked every once in a while as a counter to try to counter some of the tanks and be a really heavy split pusher.
Right. Well, he's still going to be a huge pain in the ass for those tanks that can't punish him. This is a nightmare for Gnar against the fighters that I was kind of alluding to earlier that can actually close the gap and get to him, like Aurelia or Camille or Renekton, because once they get to him, they just kill him. Even more so now. He just lost 30 health at level 1.
Right. So I can't. It's going to be hard to justify getting Gnar out of there because he's no longer like overpowered. He's brought back down to 1 trade, and you can't just heal back up and be good. I mean, 30 life is make or break out of a trade at this point, especially level 24.
Like a non-pro play world, if you need a pick against Darius, Gnar is still going to be a-okay against him. Just don't play stupid. If you get caught, you're going to have an easier time dying, but Gnar is a pretty easy time against Darius if you just play smart and keep him slowed and keep out of range of his apprehend.
Is Gnar's auto attack range longer than apprehend?
You're gonna make me go to the wiki, aren't you, Pone?
I figured you do because you said to play into it.
I bet our boy Todd likes seeing this nerf overall, just because it means like Gnar might not get picked as often, and so now he doesn't have to ban him every game.
So Nautilus,
I do believe his auto attack range is slightly longer because I've never been in danger of getting apprehend while auto attacking at max range.
Sure.
And whenever Darius approaches you, you just throw out your Q and back up
and laugh.
Yes, and laugh. Make sure you spam the laugh.
Get those 3 auto attacks and use your hyperspeed to move the hell out of the way while laughing.
Yes, the hyperspeed is also very important.
Nautilus Q Dredge Line. Mana cost is now flat 60 at all ranks, and hitting terrain refunds half of Dredge Line's mana cost, which none of these change. You're not seeing Nautilus out of the top lane. He got hit too hard with his E.
This helps support Nautilus a little bit, but I just it's not like we were seeing a lot of support Nautilus no matter what. They're just trying to figure out what they can do with this champion to make him, you play
Not
a little bit
oppressive.
better, but not just overwhelm everybody because he's unkillable and dealing constant AoE damage.
Right. So Ornn got a whole slew of changes. There was a whole bunch of them that are in the like. If you're reading the patch notes while you're looking at this, you'll see that his changes list is gigantic. But that's because there was a fuckload of hot fixes for him previous to this patch.
And we covered those actually when they happened,
Right.
so that's why we're not going over them now.
So in this patch, he had his passive Living Forge changed. The Ornn's Masterwork upgrades are now locked until he reaches level 13, and that's just to prevent people from being stupid, essentially. Zhonya's Hourglass can now be forged in the Zhonya's Paradox. The total cost is 3,900 gold. The ability, with a 1,000 gold upgrade cost baked into that. Ability power is 100 plus 30 increase, and armor is 60, which is plus 15 increase. So you get an extra 30 ability power and 15 armor by upgrading your Zhonya's Hourglass.
For 1,000 gold.
Nothing to complain about, but
Right.
again, you don't want to rush any of these items. They're not especially
Yes.
like gold efficient. They're just like, it's sort of art and censor syndrome in that regard and everything. It's like it's a perk to having this specific type of this specific champion on your team. Like if you get to a certain late game stage, or you're level 15, you just bought something and you got 1,000 gold. Hey, this is going to give you a small edge in the next fight. But like these were never items that you wanted to rush.
Right. There was a bug where Searing Charge didn't destroy Anivia's wall. It just made it invisible, and they fixed that. Call of the Forge is R. The maximum ram travel speed toward Ornn has been increased to 1,200 from 1,050, trying to make it a little more reliable to get off in a team fight.
I haven't played against too much Ornn, but his ultimate did seem pretty easy to anticipate and move out of the way of.
It's still pretty.
And you've got that horn call, and then the thing runs at him, and then has to run back at you. So, you've got plenty of time to react to this thing.
Right.
The only time I've been hit by it was when he cast it out of Fog of War, and I was just like, "Oh shit, that's my bad."
That's a
guys.
ram.
I didn't ward. I didn't expect the ram.
And some of the other changes were, didn't they change? Did the change go through where they made the Q the 1 second pop up instead of the 1.5? I didn't actually read. I'll be honest, I didn't read the entire patch notes when I was.
I don't have him offhand. I know they changed his flame
Okay.
path
Yeah, I'm
so that it's a little bit better.
So Q now displaces champions who are sitting on top of it. Yeah.
right. The pillar spawn
have a
time,
number
they
to
did
it.
nerf it. They was 1.25. They brought it down to 1.125. But all these other buffs have been in the game for a while, right? Like, because you guys out there have been playing on the base stat buffs and the rupture buffs and all that kind of stuff, and we haven't really seen a change in how well Ornn is doing. So he's still going to need some love potentially. But that could also change come preseason when the new rune system comes out. So we just kind of have to, I would say anything after this. Hopefully, a lot of these buffs aren't super heavy-handed or in preparation because they realize something might be super powerful or not come preseason. Rumble, passive, junkyard,
All right,
Titan.
hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Before we go too far away, I finally have the numbers on Darius here, because I know everybody wanted to know
Okay.
the range on Darius's abilities, all right? So chat was talking about Q, so I might as well look up as well. The radius of Q is 425, and the range of Apprehend, his E, is 535. Gnar's range is 400. So he's in range of both of those, which means you can't just straight up go right-click Darius. You can Q him and slow him. You can cheat some auto attacks, and by that I mean approach him, back off a little bit, try and bait and apprehend. But if you get hooked, you need to jump away.
Or try to jump away from the hook as it
You gotta
comes.
jump away fast.
Well, there we go. That answers
All right,
that.
carry on.
Rumble, Junkyard Titan, passive. Rumble's heat bar now turns orange when at or above 80 heat. Thanks.
It's a little quality of life thing.
Yeah.
I like it.
Whatever. Aatrox now correctly keeps his W, Bloodthirst, Blood Price, Empowered Attack through his passive Blood Will Revive.
How do you
which
feel
is-
about that punch?
I like it.
The resident
Feels really good.
Aatrox player.
Yeah, as the resident Aatrox main, I have to say that this will come in handy when you die in the middle of the enemy team, and then as soon as you revive, they kill you.
You'll get a little bit of extra damage or a little bit of life steal back, and then you'll die.
Yes, you will survive a a 0.5% of a second longer.
What happened to the change to Aatrox? Did they revert that? They were making it so you couldn't be CC'd while you were going up, but you could when you're going down, or vice versa. You could when you be going up, but you couldn't when you're going down.
Wasn't that in last patch?
Was that last patch?
Or
I think that was last patch. I don't think I was here for the last patch.
Pretty sure it was
That's
last
why
patch.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that because somebody picked Aatrox against me.
Right,
and
that had to have been last patch.
It didn't work.
It wasn't last patch because that was 7.17.
Yeah, they don't have it in there, so they might have just been in the.
It's just in the PBE, but they didn't put it in their live.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't because even 1.6 he doesn't have that. They were trying to make it so he couldn't be CC'd on the way down.
It's too hard to keep this shit straight, man.
They need to change his Q.
I don't know what's going on.
It's too fucking easy. Just displace him. Maokai Q him in the middle of the air, and he's like, oh fuck. That was worthless.
Yeah, in my case, I was playing Poppy, so he didn't have fun at all. He couldn't even go up. I just used W on top of him, and he couldn't even go up. He was a sad Aatrox.
Right. Gargoyle Stoneblade changes. Yeah, these all just target Cho'Gath, because Cho'Gath was getting a bunch of fucking free-ass damage.
Well, sorta.
Grants base health equal to 40%. You have base health in here twice. That's your mouth.
No, I don't. Trust me.
Grants base health equal to 40% base health. Oh. Grants base health equal to 40% base health and bonus health equal to 40% bonus health. Gargoyle Stoneplate active no longer scales with Stoneborn Pact or Nunu's Q consume buff. And they fixed a bug interaction between Cinder Hulk and Gargoyle Stoneplate's active, which caused a combination to grant more bonus health than intended. This is a nerfed Cho'Gath.
It's also a nerf to the Gargoyle Stoneplate and Locket of the Iron Solari interaction. Because whereas before you would activate Gargoyle Stoneplate and get all of your health became, bonus health, and then you could use Locket of the Iron Solari for just a massive shield. Now it's only your bonus health is going to count towards the bonus health ratio. Like your bonus health will double, but that's the only portion of your health that's going to count towards the ratio.
Right.
It took me a minute to figure out why they were doing this and everything, but that's what they're going for. They like this item, and they want to keep it, something people want to buy. But it was just like shield creep has been massive this season, and Gargoyle Stonepoint just accentuated the problem. So,
sorry, I hear a screaming baby upstairs. This is not happy. And I'm down here having fun, and wife has to deal with that, so I feel bad. Jarvan 4, Golden Aegis, both the base shield was 65 to 165. It's now 60 to 160. This should also be a top lane. This is more of like a top lane change.
That's why he's like right there, because he's doing both.
Right.
He's been played jungle as much as top.
Bonus shield damage was 2 to 4%. Is now 2 to 3% of his maximum health. So this is more for this is really a top lane change. So he's just not as durable. But I don't think it moves him at all one way or the other. Did not enough got changed in this patch.
I mean, his damage is still pretty high for a bruiser, and just the fact that he can get to the back line, lock somebody down, and then there are a lot of big ultimates in this game, Galio, that other type of shit. Like, he's still going to be a really popular pick. Right. Some people were complaining that, like, Jarvan's getting nerfed when he just finally gets good and everything. I do not like the amount of free stats that Jarvan gets, so I really wish they would tune that type of stuff down.
Well,
but
I mean,
this is fine too.
Jarvan did kind of come back on the back of a bunch of W buffs. So, I mean, this isn't... I don't know where to rate this on the scale of 1 to 10, how big of a nerf this is. I mean, it's... You could... I think just from base stats, you're missing, 110 points off that shield at level 18. And that, of course, that doesn't even factor in the health you're gaining from items, so that's only going to skyrocket upwards. It seems like a sizable nerf to that shield, but yeah.
I mean,
I guess
right, and he was really, really strong, so it makes sense that they are hitting that shield. So I don't know. Elise, they're hitting her a little bit. Her W, Volatile Spiderling, the base damage has gone from 60 to 260 down to 55 to 215, but the AP ratio on it is going from 0.8 to 0.95. So you're almost getting all of your ability power as bonus damage, but like you gotta you have to get a lot of ability power now to really make up for the damage that you're losing on the base.
I think Santana pointed out that it was 300 AP to hit even, which jungle at least is not doing, unless you're just rolling in gold and you're able to buy a big AP item. But that's going to take a while.
Beaver didn't think this was going to be as big of a deal as Santana did, so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I honestly don't have, I Alicia's a cool champion, and I like it when she can be played well, but I hate it when she is like a must pick or ban champion, because she's
right.
She can be really frustrating to play against. I guess that's all champions, but and then they are hitting repel. The cooldown is going from 26 to 14 seconds up to 26 to 18 seconds, and that's just so that like she can't fucking get out of everything late game. Only some of the things.
Right. Like you were saying with Beaver and Santana's discussion, Beaver's rationale for why the W change wasn't a huge deal is because, at least it's leveling Q first, W second, so that's when it will factor in maybe the mid and late mid game. And Repel is always the 1 point wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sitting at that 26 second cooldown for a long time anyway, so that 4 second nerf isn't really coming to a big deal. It's really going to come into play until late game, and then really how much of a factor is that going to be, really?
Yeah, it's not like she's known for having a really strong late game. She's really gotta snowball the shit out of the early game to still be a menace late.
Which is Riot's rationale for these changes is, she is a snowbally jungler. She is designed to get her team ahead. But at the moment, when she fails to get her team ahead, she's still effective. Right? She doesn't really fall behind. So that's kind of what they're targeting. Again, that's why they're targeting W and E for this mid-game and late-game nerfs, you could say.
I could see pros shying away from her unless they're like really, really confident Elise players. But with Worlds on the line, I can see them not wanting to go with this type of champion. Just too much risk. If you don't get ahead, you're probably screwing your team.
Maybe. That does seem like a sizable nerf on W.
Mm-hmm. Gragas is getting hit. No surprise, he's been a pretty dominant pick all over the place and all year, really. Base armor is going from 29.05 to 26.05, and then E's body slam collision detection radius is going from 210 to 180. The hitbox offset radius is going from 60 to 40, and the indicator has been changed to more accurately reflect hitbox, which means now if you're playing Gragas and you press, what is it, E? Now yes. the range indicator, if you're using the line indicator as opposed to the circle, the range indicator is going to be much, much wider to kind of give you a sense for how long it's going to be. I saw, in theory, this was a much needed change because Gragas's collision is ridiculous. You can really miss that ability and it's still going to hit. It's more offensive than Morgana's Dark Binding. In practice, I don't know. I saw a video comparing the two. It really didn't seem like there was a big change between patch 7.17 and 7.18. So
yeah, I watched that video too, and I don't think the guy did a very good job of comparing the two. The video wasn't done very well. I need to see them side by side, right? In the video.
I suspect this is going to be the type of thing that Gragas players feel a little bit more, but people playing against Gragas are ultimately going to be like, "Oh, this is still such a bullshit ability." And that's just the nature of the beast. Base armor, I mean, the guy, he has so much sustain and everything that he needs to be taking a little bit more damage. And damage reduction from W, if I remember right.
All right. We were talking about Gragas, talking about Elise.
Yes. That is a thing.
Right. Nidalee, Primal Surge.
Sorry, I was reading chat.
Ability power ratio has been increased from 0.275 to 0.325, and maximum ratio has been increased from 0.55 to 0.65, which only makes her better rolling into Worlds when she's being picked because of Ardent Sensor.
A couple weeks ago, I was playing with Todd and Santana picked Nidalee because Santana has always loved Nidalee. And Todd was furious. He just did not want to have Nidalee on his team, and they got into a big argument, friendly argument, friendly banter, that type of. Todd was not happy, and Santana was defending it, and it was really funny. It was friendly back and forth. Santana's like, she's fine. People are just really down on her because of all this stuff. I think she's just like a fine, niche pick in certain scenarios. Todd was like, no, she's bad. She's garbage. This, that, and the other thing. That fucking night, or like the next fucking day, is when this change hit the PBE, and Todd was like, hey, Santana, so how about that, good Nidalee, huh? If she's so good, then why is she getting buffed? So...
Yeah, what about his Garen, though? His Garen was so good. Why the hell was that getting buffed? Huh, Todd?
There's a difference between, one trick sticking by his guy no matter what, and...
Well, she's already been picked in pro play because of Ardent Censor. Like, every once in a while, she was picked a few times in the playoffs. So these they just make her a little bit better. It doesn't do anything, right? Like, I hate to say it that way, other than it doesn't suddenly push her to the top of the stack. It just does. She doesn't move.
It's not affecting her damage, and she might be a little bit more durable, or someone else might be a little bit more durable, but it's not affecting her damage, and that's kind of the thing that I think people are waiting for or hoping for whenever they see Nidalee changes.
So Peanut rejoices with the
that
next
and auto
change.
attack resets.
Yeah, that and auto attack resets.
So Peanut, he rejoices with the next change as we roll into Worlds. W Safeguard on Lee Sin. The base shield has been increased from 40 to 280. It is now 55 to 275. So early into mid, you get a little more, and late, you get just a little less.
Fuck Lee Sin. God damn it.
Why?
Yeah.
Stop.
I was going to say cool, but I agree with Dom. Just
fuck Lee Sin.
Fuck Lee Sin.
Ivern Trigger Seed base explosion damage has been increased from 50 to 130 to 60 to 140. Explosion ratio has had its ability power increased by 0.1 to 0.8 ability power. So Ivern's still not on the top of the stack of junglers, but nudging him a little bit back. You can't... Ivern's in that weird spot where you can't give him too much, or he just starts to run away with the game no matter the meta. So if they feel that he's underperforming at all, they have to nudge changes.
There's a pretty good amount of ability power on some of the support items that he tends to go for, and Athene's got changed in a better way that Ivern, I think, could abuse specifically. So, like, he might be healing a lot more than people expect starting next patch, and then, he's going to be dealing a little bit more damage, actually a lot more damage than people expect, again, because of that Athene's change, getting bonus ability power based on how much mana regen you have. So this might be more impactful than Adam might be giving credit there.
I'm curious if it might actually be more impactful just because Cinderhulk is getting a slight nerf, which does make some of those tanky junglers a little bit easier to kill. But at the same time, the junglers that are good right now before Cinderhulk are still going to be good, and Ivern's still going to sit there because nothing has changed in between here and there. It's I could definitely see Ivern popping up a little bit more, not necessarily in solo queue games, but potentially as some kind of counter pick or a one-off pick in these pro play games that in these best of one pools.
Unfortunately, all the stat sites, the API is screwed up. You're either seeing a bunch of control wards or a bunch of Lucidity boots purchased on Ivern, so I can't really talk about what people are building on them because I don't play them myself.
It's all just support items. Redemption.
Yeah.
Knight's Vow,
I don't
Locket. know. It's Locket, Redemption, I'm sure Ardent, and Athene's show up.
I can see people pivoting and going to Athene's instead of Mikhail's, which is what he used to be getting.
Probably depends on what you're playing into and if you're getting Mikhail's, right? That's kind of like that how that item's always been.
I mean, that heal should get pretty big for him because Trigger Seed, like he should be dealing a pretty good amount of damage with Trigger Seed now. It's AoE, so.
Right. Well, Rengar gets changed. His base armor has been increased to 25 from 22. But isn't his problem right now the damage that he does or the lack thereof? Like he doesn't build Cinderhulk, and Cinderhulk's really good, and he's really reliant on snowballing the game through kills. I can't remember the exact reason what makes Rengar or pushes Rengar off there. I know this is why I wish I had Santana here tonight because he'd be able to tell me exactly what's going on with Rengar.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unfortunately,
Is it a conversation you had with somebody, like Bao or something?
Bao or Santana, I don't remember. A while ago, unfortunately, this is probably the only champion in this patch that I can't say yes or no to, seeing where he's going to go, because I don't know enough about Rengar to see what's keeping him
for
out.
a 3 armor change, I don't think he's going anywhere too far away.
Helps us clear, but it just doesn't.
I don't think he's gonna shoot to the top.
It doesn't seem like his meta right now. So the world's meta would really have to shift away from the tanky jungler and top laners for him to suddenly start getting picked. Because it's also all about camping top lane.
Right.
That's right.
So,
well, the Cinderhulk enchantment I mentioned earlier, it is now being changed to 300 health from 325. So that it's just trying to bring Cinderhulk more back in line with all of the other jungle items, but I still think
just a little bit. So
it's likely to
hopefully we don't see that item every game in Worlds.
Oh, I'm sure
every game is Cinderhulk versus Cinderhulk. It probably will, but they're making these little tweaks just so everything is more even.
Well, considering hyper carries are really strong right now, thanks to Cinderhulk and Bramble Vest and the top lane meta, even with these Tristana changes that we'll talk about a little bit later, we're still going to be seeing a lot of Tristana and whatnot. So I don't imagine we're going to see a lot of assassins pop up. It's just protect the marksman / mid laner right now, and we're back to season 5, right? Protect the carry.
Yeah, we just don't have the fucking gangbang going on in bot lane every game anymore. So, oh my god, season 5 was the worst about that. Like, you just fucking the game would hit 7 minutes. Like, okay, so when are all the teleports going to start coming down here? Because I know it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, let's talk about mid lane, since bottom lane is no longer the gangbang. We'll move up over to this lane now. Cassiopeia Twin Fang bonus damage versus poison target has been decreased from 15 to 100. It was 15 to 115, now 10 to 90. Bonus ratio versus pointed targets has been increased to 0.5, which great. They're trying to even it out because Cassiopeia is building a lot of mana items right now, because she had a ton of free damage through her base stat line, and they're trying to push her away, because right now the Cassiopeia build is Tyr, Morellos, and Abyssal Mask. There is almost no ability power in that. Morellos is where you get ability power, and you're getting that extra 10% damage. So they're trying to force her out of this pure mana build where she's just spamming E.
Yeah, and the big thing was that she wasn't sacrificing much damage at all because the base was so good by building Abyssal Mask, and now she was becoming more durable despite that. And now she really can't go for that durability item and deal the damage that you expect Cassiopeia to deal.
Right. I don't know. She certainly still has that option to go for that item, because yes, this hurts her early and mid game, or that'll be mid game at that point, her mid game damage. But she only needs 250 AP to hit the threshold of her old damage prior to this nerf. And then after that, her damage is going up. Mm-hmm. So she is a better late game mage, even though she was already a great late game mage to begin with. So,
now she doesn't have that mid game security blanket that she had.
Yeah, she was just
right. She either has to make that choice to build more AP and be squishier in the mid game and then come online faster, or keep doing what she's doing and having a safer, I'm using air quotes, way to get to late game and more AP later
They've
on.
been steadily nerfing her early game damage, because you can easily level 1 bully somebody out of lane, right? You could previously before some changes. Then now it's level 2, you could bully somebody out of lane. So they're trying to slowly nudge it so that she has some weakness, and that weakness is 1 to 6 or 1 to 9 or whatever it is. And then she starts coming online after that tier gets stacked up a little bit and that Abyssal Mask gets built, that Morello is finished. There has to be some counterplay, and slowly taking away damage and forcing people away from these really safe builds is the way to go about it. And I guess that Riot has seen that, and that's what they're doing. Well, let's talk about Azir. I guess we'll just go ahead and move on. Emperor's Divide base damage has been increased. It was 152.25. 300 is now 152.54.50.
That is a big level 16 jump.
It's a big, that's a big wall. He's just got to make it there, and he doesn't do that very well right now.
Yeah, the majority of his damage isn't through his wall, though, so I really don't think this changes all that much.
Nope.
That's a lot of extra damage.
Rise W Rune Prison's ratio has had a gigantic increase from 0.2 to 0.6 ability power.
I mean, it's his 1 point wonder,
Yeah, well-
right? But it doesn't matter because like that's just like he's going to be building enough ability power that this still is a substantial increase. It's a flat amount, so it doesn't really matter what the base is. Like you're just going to be getting more damage out of W.
I can't imagine it takes Rise out of the dumpster though. He's got like such a low win rate. Adding an ability power ratio to W
hard to play.
doesn't do too much. Right? Yeah, he's always going to have a low win rate.
But will Faker pick him?
It might help him at Worlds though.
Sure. Yeah, like you said, like Faker, who loves to play Rise, could
The one person in the world who can play him.
the only person that should. Fizz, Chum the Waters no longer attaches to spell shielded champions at max range.
Sorry, Whale.
I hate that champion. Fuck that champion and fuck everything about it. Fuck you, Fizz. You can suck my ass. Zareth, Eye of Destruction slow now correctly decays from 25 to 13% once, not twice. So
I'm confused to what that means. Does it decay from 25% to the 13, and then was it like going back up to 25 and decaying again to 13, or was it like doing decaying from 13 to something else?
Was this in the bug fixes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
either.
of course. There's no context for the bug fixes.
Yeah.
Lucian E Relentless Pursuit's cooldown has been increased from 18 to 14 to 22 to 14. I don't know why you want to hit Lucian at all, because he's not doing well.
Because he's getting played a lot in mid lane, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
doing
fair.
really well.
That's
that's why he's in mid lane. So
Oh, you're right. We are in the mid lane thing. I'm thinking of him strictly as an AD. Right. Yeah, try nerfing him. But so they just nerfed his bottom lane presence, like even more so than it already was.
don't pick Lucian. Like you're gonna don't pick Lucian AD carry. You're not gonna do well. But
so we don't.
it hits his security in mid lane more than anything else.
Security and reliability of combo, because you don't get that cooldown as quickly. It takes you an extra rotation to get that cooldown back to where it was. Or not rotation, it takes you an extra ability to get the cooldown back up. So, hold on. All right, I'm good.
Excuse you.
Tristana, E-Explosive Charge, bomb ratio was 0.5 to 1.1 bonus attack damage. It is now 0.5 to 0.9 bonus attack damage. The 4-stack bomb ratio was 1.1 to 2.42. It is now 1.1 to 1.98. I don't think this really does anything to Tristana.
No, not
at
big
all.
enough.
Because Tristana's
big
damage
enough.
wasn't
Not really.
coming through Explosive Charge.
Well, I guess this hurts killing towers as quickly as she was, a little bit, but
How
that's
often,
probably the biggest effect this has.
how often did it feel like you were sneaking in tower kills because of the bonus damage on that, and then getting out of jail or something?
Well, not that so much, but getting max charges on your target isn't very easy unless that target is a turret who's just standing there.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind that this is all bonus attack damage, and Tristana is only building one attack damage item outside. Is only building one attack damage item for probably 25 minutes of the game, because right now it is BF Sword into Static Shiv, into Eye Edge, into Rapid Fire Cannon, into whatever next item you need. So you're sitting on 2 attack speed items and Eye Edge before you build anything else, and by that time, Explosive Charge is already maxed, and you're not losing a significant amount of bonus damage when you would need it. If they want to start nerfing her, they need to nerf her the attack speed, right, on her Q, the free attack speed she's gaining by pressing an ability. Free, I say free, but she has to spend, press Q to get it. She's got really long range and the reliability of Q, right? So I don't know. Tristana's still good. Pick Tristana. Play Tristana.
Yeah, I don't see
good.
this. I don't see this taking her out of banned prison for me. So
Calista, Fate's Call, cooldown 120 to 60 is now 150 to 90.
this has got to be pro play only, maybe high MMR, but I honestly can't remember the last time I saw a Calista, and but she's banned every single game. You in playoffs.
It's because
Yep.
it's Callista's too high skill to be played by your normal man.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 100% a pro play nerf. And what else do you say to that? Then the pros are like, fuck, god damn it, Calista makes it harder to play, but she probably still can do Calista things.
Mm-hmm.
Support Rakan. Thank God they're finally nerfing this champion.
You skipped Sivir.
Oh, I did skip to nerf. Fixed a bug where E-Spell Shield could block summoner spells if they were cast at the same time as an ability.
There you go.
That's interesting.
Had no idea.
Didn't know that happened.
I think most people didn't realize it happened. It was probably more like an accidental.
Right. So Rakan, they wanted to change it because they figured his chain CC was too reliable. It was too easy for him to get off, so they're trying to fix some of that. W grand entrance, the dash speed was 1800 plus 100% movement speed. It is now 2050 plus 30% movement speed.
This is a minor buff at the early stages of the game, and then it ends up being, a nerf overall to how quickly it's going down.
Right. The quickness collision detect radius is now 150, and the cooldown has been decreased. 120 to 100 before, now 120 to 80.
I don't know. These changes bum me out because it's not like he was overperforming in solo queue. It's specifically targeting pro play, but now it sort of feels like this is going to end up, hurting his ability to do well in solo queue more than anything else, and that's really frustrating. I get it; it's Worlds, but for a champion that really does have a lot of vulnerabilities, like making it, it's not like Rakan was just getting out of trouble every single time. You had to play Rakan well in order to do these things, and now you're going to have to play him so much better, and the average person is probably just not going to be able to pull it off.
Doesn't the detection radius potentially mean something? Losing 50 range?
Yeah, it means like you have to get on top of him like you were supposed to. There's going to be no forgiveness on that though.
Sure,
like that's the idea.
Good. He's already a skinny model. He should have a skinny engage. I guess you could have like a little bit because he kind of runs with like that force around him, right? So maybe a little bit wider, but still. Spell Thief's Edgeline. The tribute passive after last hitting a minion tribute charge generation is paused for 8 seconds. And that's just so that there's a really big change coming up, and that's just so that mid laners don't start buying this item again. Frostbag now has 10% cooldown reduction. Frost Queen's Claim, Build Path, Frostfang Blasting Wand, 500 gold. There you go. Why? Because of the Blasting Wand?
No, because of the 10% CDR on Frostfang. Originally, they were putting 20% CDR on Frost Queen's Claim and Eye of the Watchers. And what happened on the PvE was that mid laners were buying the item again, because getting a really, pretty cost-effective gold-generating item was just too good. With all that cooldown reduction, was just too good for all of the mid laners to pass up. This is still a really big change, because now it means that champions like Zyra, Morgana, Vel'Koz, and Brand no longer have to rush a Eye, or not even the Fiendish Codex, but basically just rush their Eye of the Watchers or Frost Queen's Claim in order to get the cooldown reduction that they're otherwise not getting. Morgana sort of being the exception in that regard. But Zyra, Bran, and Vel'Koz are all going for Rylai's and Liandry's right after, as soon as they possibly can. And that means that if they didn't rush the end game support item, they didn't have any cooldown reduction for a really long time. And those are 3 champions that all really need cooldown reduction. So now being able to get 10% cooldown reduction, really on their first or second back, depending on how lane goes and what they want to go for, that ends up being a really, really big deal. Not for Worlds, with respect to Brand and Vel'Koz in particular. It's not like we see a whole lot of support champions there, but Zyra last year was used as a counter to a lot of the tanks that were really popular going into Worlds. And so I could see her starting to make a comeback again. Now, Adam made a good point the other day that she's seen a lot of other nerfs and changes along the way this year, so this might not be enough to bump her back up, but I do think it is a really, really meaningful change for her specifically.
It was primarily the plant AI that they changed, because the plant AI was automatically attacking champions, and it was just so oppressive to play against in bottom lane. And that's probably the major reason we haven't seen her being played at all.
But it's a tank-heavy meta, and getting her 10% cooldown reduction way earlier than she's used to is a big, big deal.
Up in the air. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Well said, Dom, by the way. I had no other than that. Be cool, it changed. But, when you can look at it from that point of view, that's great. Knight's Vow, they're changing that as well. It was 2,300 gold, is now 2,200. Combined cost is down to 600, and the health has been decreased to 250 to make up for that 100 gold loss. Are they trying to make this more accessible for supports and out of the top lane hands?
They're trying to make it less appealing to top laners, and I'm just sort of like, supports don't get anything nice. Like, seriously, every time supports get something nice, the junglers or the top laners or the mid laners ruin it.
That's how hunters felt in World of Warcraft.
I was a punter player, so hey, how about that?
But anytime there was a good hunter weapon, the rogues or warriors got it. What about a hand to Sulfuris? All the hunters could have used that. Think about all the times that you could have countered and got the free proc.
Wing clip span, man.
That's what I'm saying. You get the free proc off that with the wing clips, man. Man, the days of vanilla. Wow. That's it. That's the world's patch 7.18.
Big little changes is what I was calling this one. Like, there's just a lot of small changes that are going to really, really impact things. I always get excited for Worlds because it just takes on a meta of its own.
Right.
And ends up being really, really fun to watch and play, especially group stages. I'm curious to see what happens with the play-in, and if the play-in sort of sets the tone for the meta, and then if group stages don't have as much going on as a result. But it should be a fun time.
Nah, every year though we get those wild cards that come in, like kind of like last year with the Turkish team that came rolling in with brand support and just decimated fuckers. So like,
I don't think Lakrit's going this year.
No, they're not. But they every year each region brings their own meta in. If you go look, if you look at Gambit, I watched their best of 5 series, and they're picking Ziggs and Kayn, and I think they had Jhin, right? And they had Trundle as well. They're just picking shit that other people aren't really picking all the time. Like, we saw some Trundle, don't get me wrong, but like NA has this like hard on for like Cho'Gath out of the top lane, and the other regions don't really touch Cho'Gath that often. So it'll be interesting to see who comes in with what and how that's being played. I'm really excited for Worlds. I love Worlds. I don't like to watch regular season play. I like to watch Worlds because of what Dom said, because it brings out a meta of its own.
Yeah, I will watch games during the regular season at my convenience, pretty much like I do any other sport that I might follow. But like Worlds, I do try to go out of my way to watch all the games. I try to avoid spoilers going into stuff, and I'll have it running in the background, whenever I have the time to do it and everything, because the games just end up being really, really entertaining.
So Punch.
Yeah.
There you go. Remember, this is a podcast. You have to talk. What is your...
All right.
What's your number one excuse for when TSM doesn't make it out of pools?
I don't care about TSM.
No. I need your number one excuse. No, you do
I don't
care
have
about
an excuse.
TSM.
TSM sucks.
Okay, listen. Years ago,
No, I don't.
2014.
Dude, Double Lift is on TFM. TSM blows.
Listen, you need to listen.
Double Lift and TSM blow.
You need to listen to me.
Shut your
Before you
feelings
make this anymore.
now.
3 years ago, Dom and I had a conversation because I was rooting for SKT. And
Fuck you.
He said, fuck you. I hate you. You're a fair weather fan. And you know what? Ever since that day, I've been rooting for NA and every Worlds they've gone to, no matter if I like the team or not. So let's fucking go TSM.
Yeah, no,
All
I'm cheering for all 3
Cool.
NA teams and then all 3 EU teams after that and everything. Like the moment the NA teams are knocked out, I'll be cheering for the EU teams. Like, it just goes on and on and like it's so easy to cheer for the Korean teams and everything. And like, I get it, if you're from Korea, that makes perfect sense, or you're a caster for Korea, or you have Korean heritage. Okay, that makes sense and everything. But like, if you're otherwise North American or of European descent or anything, like, you really don't have a good reason to cheer for Korean teams, except because it's easy to do, because they're going to win.
Is cheering for the Korea teams the cheering for the Yankees?
Yeah, have some goddamn pride. Have some goddamn self-respect.
Well, if you're cheering for the Yankees, you can go ahead and write us, and we'll just dump your email right in the trash. Now we'll read it on air. You know what? Let us know. Let us know your best excuse for TSM losing this year. That's not out of the Reddit thread. I saw the Reddit thread. I will fucking pick it out if you email or tweet us. So that's it. I'm gonna leave it there. We got done early. That's patch 7.18. There's no reason to keep going on with this and keep bashing your guys' head. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything? Nope, no. They don't. Everyone's quiet. They don't love you anymore. I love you guys.
I got nothing.
Have a good weekend. We're just going to leave it there. Guys, have a good weekend. Have a great day. Enjoy it. Guys, we will see you all on Monday. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.